Okay, now we are moving on to the next topic, which is illustrating reports with effective visuals. What we'll discuss in here are basically about designs that can improve the quality of visuals in your report. Of course, a good and well-designed visual elements, it can always enhance the communication power of textual messages, and in a lot of instances it even replaces textual messages. So generally speaking, in any given amount of time, visuals can convey much more information than text actually. When you look at the nice picture, we can tell like, wow, this is good, it's soothing to the eyes and I like it. We can decide there and then, or based on this picture, I have the feeling that what I'm going to be reading is good. So using pictures is also an effective way to communicate with a diverse audience. Now the next one is on understanding visual literacy. Visual literacy is the focus of this discussion here. So what basically visual literacy means is the ability to create visual images and interpret visual messages. So believe it or not, this has become an essential business skill. Yeah, having to support messages with pictures and whatnot, it carries some weight in there. So in here, to create an effective visuals, there are 6 basic principles to look into. The first one is consistency, and this has to do with the color, shape, size, position, typeface, and things like that. So audiences view a series of visuals as a whole and assume that design elements will be consistent from one page to another. You can achieve visual parallelism through the consistent use of color, shape, size, and all this. Yeah. So in here we are talking about consistency. The second one is a balance. Images that appears to be. Yeah, so balance can be formal, in which the elements in the images get arranged symmetrically around central point or axis. So balance can be informal as well, in which stronger and weaker elements are arranged in such a way that achieves an overall effect of balance. So either way, balance has to do with how we actually arrange the pictures or visuals in our report. Next one is contrast. To emphasize differences and similarities. Readers expect visual distinctions to match verbal ones. To emphasize differences, we normally depict items in contrasting colors. To emphasize similarities, we may want to use more subtle colors. Yeah. The next one is emphasis. Emphasis in here, we are making sure that the visually dominant element does not represent the most important information and visually downplay less important items. So what is important, what is less important, so we need to be able to emphasize, okay, probably highlight, yeah, a different text, bold probably, and to indicate that this particular message is important. The next one here is convention. Visual communication is guided by generally accepted rules or conventions, similar to written communication, which is guided by spelling, and grammar, punctuation, and sentence structure, and things like these are conventions. Many conventions are so ingrained in a given culture that people do not even realize that they are following them. So sometimes it comes automatically. Okay, when we see grammar in a given report, we automatically say, okay, now maybe the importance is not that great because it's even with grammar. So these are conventions. Okay, now the next one is simplicity. Simplicity, keep visuals simple. Very basic, keep visuals simple. Keep business communication visuals simple. Just remember that you're conveying information, not creating artwork. Okay, avoid decorative elements that can clutter the documents. Yeah, so simplicity is the word. And okay, now in this particular slide, we are looking at different types of charts and graphs. Yeah, so the first one is table. When you have to present a detailed specific information, choose a table, because as you can see in this slide, the first one, a systematic arrangement of data in columns and rows, that's good. Yeah, tables are ideal when the audience needs information that would either be difficult or kind of tedious to handle. So most tables contain the standard parts illustrated in this slide. It comes in rows and columns. Yeah, so it's easy to read or to follow. The next one is the line charts. Line charts are normally used to show trends over time or a relationship of two or more variables. In line charts showing trends, if you look at this picture in the figure in the slides, the y-axis, yeah, shows the amount, and the horizontal x-axis shows the time and other quantity against which the amount is being measured. Yeah, so recommended number of lines is 2 to 3. Anything beyond that can be confusing. Yeah, because the line sometimes it gets crossed. So if there are too many lines and multicolored, it can be very confusing, not pleasing to the eyes. Now the next one is the pie charts. Pie charts are common as well, but they're not necessarily the most suitable for any type of reports or presentation. But pie chart does make it easy to see that assemblers, let's say for example, the larger the pie is, that surely represent a larger number. So and smaller pie represent a smaller number. So this is this again comes in handy. It's easy to read. The last one in here is the bar charts. Bar charts portrays numbers by the height and length of its rectangular bars. Okay, if you look at the figure in the slide, bars can be oriented vertically. Yeah, vertically as in column charts, or horizontally. Bar charts show a variety of relationship among two or more variables as well, similar to pie chart. Now bar charts, they are particularly useful when you want to show a complete quantities over time. Yeah, it's easy. You can, if you look at here, the longer the bar chart, that represents probably the most lengthy example. Yeah, so these some of the different types of charts and graphs that you can use in your reports. Now more in here. Okay, there's also a flow chart. This is again very common, very commonly used in any reports. Flow charts, if you look at the one in the slide, this one shows report writing process. It shows that the various elements in the process you want to portray may be represented by pictorial symbols or geometric shapes. So again, it's easy to find the emphasis in the chart. Yeah, and when you want to present the flow chart, it's also easy to mention. You know, we can just mention like rectangular or oval shape and things like that. So this is a flow chart. Now, the next one in here is organizational chart. Normally, this organizational chart illustrates position units of functions in an organization and the way they interrelate. Yeah. So again, this is commonly used in any organization. Yep. And the rest. Are like maps, drawings, photographs, animation, videos, diagrams. These are also useful, okay, but we don't necessarily have to use all of them in one report. We need to be selective. Now, depending on the report that we are doing, so we can be selective. We want to use flowchart or organization chart, 1, 2, or 3 charts. That's fine. Yeah, but not too many, otherwise it gets very confusing and looks very cluttered. Okay, tag cloud. Tag cloud, it depicts the relative frequency of terms or tag. The most used terms, it becomes bigger, like in the picture in here, in this slide. This actually is a sample tag cloud using data visualization to depict the relative frequency of terms or tags in a sample of text taken from this chapter. If you look at the first one, yeah, HTTP, www, internet, blog, this kind of thing. So these are the words that are commonly or frequently crop up in this chapter. Second one, communication, that becomes huge. The size becomes huge, yeah, because that actually is commonly mostly used in this chapter, and the rest of it, if you can just look at this, the last one, internet, www, internet, that also, the bigger the number, the bigger the size of the text, that actually represents the number of the frequency of usage in this chapter. Okay, now moving on. The last learning outcome for this chapter, illustrating reports with effective visual. So we are summarizing the 4 tasks involved in completing business report and proposals in here. So again, we are going back to, if you still can recall, the 3-step writing process. We are actually looking at revising, producing, proofreading, and distributing. Okay, now in here, revising reports and proposals. The revision process is essential, of course, in any written report. Now, although it may take longer time, okay, depending how fast you do it, depending also on the length and complexity of the reports, yeah. But evaluating the style, organization, style, and tone, making sure that the content is clear, logical, and reader-oriented. Yeah, so the need to evaluate this. After having done that, then we can go ahead and work on to improve the report's readability. So we do this by varying sentence length, keeping paragraphs short, using lists and bullets, and adding headings and subheadings. So we in here, if we're still familiar, we are actually going back to how we can be friendly to our audience. When they read this report, what do they actually expect? Okay, so this is part of the revision and improving the readability of the report. Now, after this, we can also look at assembling the report in its final form. We review it completely from page 1 to the end page. Okay, one last time, looking for inconsistency, errors, and missing components specifically. Okay, remember we are finalizing here. Do not forget to proofread. Okay, do not forget to proofread the content of the proposal, and we make sure that we do not forget to proof that your visuals and make sure they are positioned correctly. Visuals is according to, okay, this visual is related to this tag, so make sure it's positioned correctly. For online reports, we make sure that all links work as expected, and files are active and available. Yeah, because when we say go over to this link, click here, but when we click, it's not getting us anywhere. So that can be quite frustrating when we think that what we are doing is very important. Okay, moving on, producing formal reports and proposals. So in here, formal reports and proposals can include a variety of features beyond the text and visuals. Yeah, so most of these elements provide additional information, a few more decorative, and add a degree of formality. So it depends. Yeah, depends on the content of the proposal, but it does add a degree of formality or informality. So these elements, it can be classified into two. The first one in here we're going to be discussing in this slide is prefatory elements. Okay, and the other one is supplementary elements after. So prefatory is before the introduction, and supplementary is actually after the close. So in here, prefatory elements, you're talking about cover, title page, letter of authorization, letter of transmittal, table content, and so forth, all these. Yeah, so cover, it includes a concise title that helps the readers direct to the purpose and scope of the report. Yeah, and the next one is the title fly. What this is it basically is about some plain sheet of paper that has only the title of the report on it. Although this is certainly not necessary, but some reports do have this one specific page that only has the title on it. It's called the title fly. The next one is title page. Yeah, it is in this page typically includes the report title, the name, titles of the writers, date of submission. Yeah, this information can be put on the cover page instead, but again, it depends on how you may want to design your report. Letter of authorization. In here, if you receive written authorization to invite you to prepare the report, you may want to include the letter or memo in the report. Letter of transmittal. This is a cover letter. It introduces the report. It can include scope, methods, limitation, and report highlights, follow-ups. Yeah, and some acknowledgement to those who have helped in the producing or preparing of the report. Table of contents. This is almost what is this? This is necessary. It lists all section heads and major subheadings to show the location and hierarchy of the information in the report. And finally, synopsis or executive summary. So, or sometimes this is called abstract. So, synopsis or executive summary is a brief overview of a report's most important points. It can be informative, yeah, with the direct approach, or descriptive, yeah, describing what the report is about without giving away the ending. Yeah, that is the indirect approach. So this is prefatory elements. The next one is supplementary elements. Supplementary parts follow the text of the report and provide information for readers who seek more details. Yeah, so in general, place supporting materials here that could be of interest to some of your readers, but they aren't crucial to the main thrust of your message. So that includes the appendix, bibliography, or the index. Yeah, So appendix, you can additional information that's related to the report, yep, if there are any. The next one is bibliography. List secondary sources that you have consulted, the index, list names, places, subjects mentioned in the report along with the pages on which they occur. Okay, now in the other side, right hand side, we have appendixes and resumes of key players. So the use of an appendix for additional information that's related to the proposal but not included in the main text because it's too lengthy or lacks direct relevance, so we put them in at the back as appendices. Now be sure to follow any instructions in the request for proposal if relevant, because if it's specifically requested in the request for proposal and it's not there, they may not, that doesn't sound too good. So again, look at the request for proposal, what actually is required. Yeah. Now, resumes of key players. For external proposals, resumes can convince readers that you have the talent, you have the ability to achieve the proposal's objectives. Yeah.